let me ask you something. And don't give me the polite, fake answer you'd rehearse for your boss. Why are you still playing by rules designed to keep you stuck? You've been told that hard work, loyalty, and putting in the time will pay off, but deep down, you know that's a lie. You've seen it. The guy who kisses up gets the promotion. The external hire gets the fat paycheck you've been chasing for years. And you? You're the reliable one, the team player, the one they count on to stay put while they reward someone else. Here's the brutal truth. The corporate game isn't about effort, fairness, or loyalty. It's about strategy. And if you're not playing it, you're losing. Do you even know why you've been overlooked? Why you're the one pulling the late nights while someone else gets the credit? Or are you just hoping one day someone will notice your hard work, hand you the promotion, and say, "Thanks for being so loyal," because guess what? That's not going to happen. So here's my real question to you. Why are you still hoping for a seat at the table when you should be flipping the damn table over? Welcome to Self-Mastery Labs. Let's get started. Chapter 1. Why isn't hard work enough? Here's the blunt truth you don't want to hear. Hard work alone isn't enough because corporate systems aren't built to reward effort. They're built to reward influence. That's it. That's the game. So, if you've been grinding away, taking on extra projects, skipping vacations, and sacrificing your sanity, hoping someone will notice and pat you on the back, congratulations, you've played yourself. The reality is, no one cares how many hours you put in if they don't see you or like you. Nobody. If you think that staying late, answering every email within 5 minutes, or saying yes to every request is going to get you ahead, I have news for you. It's not. The only thing it's doing is making you a convenient cog in someone else's machine. You're not being noticed, you're being used. And let's not pretend you haven't seen this happen before. How many times have you watched someone who barely breaks a sweat waltz into a promotion while you sit there grinding your teeth, wondering, what the hell am I doing wrong? Want to know the answer? They're not working harder, they're working smarter socially. They know the system rewards visibility, not effort. Meanwhile, you're still out here trying to prove your worth with sweat equity like it's 1950. Let's get one thing straight. Nobody is hired just because of their skills. Sure, your resume might look great, and maybe you even crushed your interview, but the truth is, someone liked you enough to give you that shot. That's it. They didn't bring you in because you're a one-of-a-kind genius. They brought you in because you fit their idea of who could make their life easier. And now, if nobody likes you or even knows you exist, guess what? You're invisible, and invisible people don't get promoted. Stop hiding behind your hard work like it's a badge of honor. It's not. It's a shield you're using to avoid the uncomfortable truth that influence matters more than effort. You're not a martyr for burning the midnight oil. You're just conveniently making everyone else's life easier while sacrificing your own future. Here's another thing you don't want to admit. Corporate systems are about power and convenience, not fairness. They aren't designed to reward the person who works the hardest. They're designed to reward the person who makes themselves indispensable to the right people. You think management cares about your loyalty or your long hours? They don't. They care about what you can do for them. And if someone else is better at making themselves seem valuable, even if they're doing half the work, they'll get the recognition while you keep grinding in the shadows. And let's call out another lie you tell yourself. If I just keep my head down and do my best, eventually they'll notice. Really? How's that working out for you so far? Because the people who actually move up aren't the ones with their heads down. They're the ones speaking up, showing up, and playing the game. This isn't a meritocracy, and deep down, you know that. So why are you still pretending like it is? You're clinging to this outdated fantasy that hard work speaks for itself. But here's the problem. In a system where everyone is working hard, effort becomes white noise. Nobody can hear how hard you're working over the sound of their own agenda. And don't even get me started on your performance reviews. You really think those are for you? No, they're for HR to keep a paper trail so they can justify why you're not getting a raise, or why they can let you go if it suits them. They're not about recognizing your value. They're about managing liability. Ever notice how they always focus on what you need to improve? That's by design. If they told you you're killing it, you might start asking for more money, and they can't have that, can they? So here's the part that's gonna sting. The people getting ahead while you're stuck in place. They figured out what you haven't. They know that visibility matters more than grinding in the dark. They know that making friends in high places is more important than being the go-to person for grunt work. They know how to play the game while you're still trying to win a contest nobody's watching. You've got two choices. You can keep lying to yourself, telling yourself that your hard work will eventually pay off, even though all evidence points to the contrary. Or you can wake up, stop playing the victim and start playing the system. Build relationships. Make yourself known to the people who matter. Stop waiting for permission to speak up. And for the love of everything, stop letting your hard work be the only thing you bring to the table. Because here's the truth, the corporate world doesn't reward effort, it rewards impact. And if you're not making an impact on the right people, you might as well be invisible. So ask yourself, are you going to keep working hard and hoping for a miracle? Or are you finally going to do what it takes to get noticed? Because until you do, you're just another replaceable worker bee. And nobody's promoting the bee they don't see. Chapter 2. Why do promotions go to others? Here's the ugly truth you've been avoiding. Promotions don't go to the hardest worker, the most loyal team player, or the person who deserves it. They go to the people with the right connections and the leverage to make themselves impossible to ignore. If you're still sitting around thinking your effort and loyalty are enough to get you ahead, then congratulations. You've just volunteered to be the company's most dependable doormat. Let me be crystal clear. No one cares how long you've been in your role or how many sacrifices you've made. Stop acting like your years of service or late night emails are some kind of golden ticket. They're not. Companies don't hand out promotions as thank you gifts for sticking around or for being so valuable we can't lose you. That's the line they feed you when they want you to stay right where you are, working hard and asking for nothing. If promotion season rolls around and your name doesn't come up, don't buy into the BS excuses about timing or budget constraints. The real reason you didn't get it? You're not in the right conversations with the right people at the right time. You're invisible to the decision makers, or worse, you've made yourself so predictably reliable that they'd rather keep you exactly where you are. Why promote someone who's already making their lives easier without demanding anything in return? Promotions are not rewards, they're strategic moves. Companies give them to people who serve their agenda, not yours. Think about it. When someone gets promoted, it's because their ascension benefits the powers that be. Either they're well connected to higher ups, they've positioned themselves as irreplaceable in the eyes of decision makers, or they've created leverage by making themselves too valuable to lose. And let's talk about that word, leverage. Do you even have any? Because if you're still clinging to the belief that being loyal and keeping your head down will get you noticed, let me spell it out for you. You have no leverage, none. The system thrives on people like you, dependable, quiet, and too afraid of rocking the boat to demand better. And that fear, that's exactly why they can afford to pass you over. You know who gets promotions? The ones who are visible, vocal, and unafraid to play the game. They're the ones who build relationships with the people who matter, even if it means stepping outside their comfort zone. They're the ones who don't just do their job, but make damn sure the right people know they're doing it. Meanwhile, you're over here grinding away in the shadows, thinking your work will speak for itself. Hate to break it to you, but in corporate life, work doesn't speak. People do. And if you're not speaking, if you're not making yourself seen and heard, you're as good as invisible. Let's call out the other lie you're telling yourself. I don't want to play office politics. I just want to focus on my work. That's cute, but it's also a surefire way to stay exactly where you are. Refusing to engage with the politics of the workplace doesn't make you noble. It makes you naive. Promotions aren't handed out based on effort or fairness. They're handed out based on who's playing the game. And don't get me started on your so-called loyalty. You think the company values you for sticking around? They don't. In fact, they're counting on your loyalty to keep you in place while they promote someone else. Why give you a raise or a new title when they know you'll keep working hard for less? Loyal employees are the easiest to overlook because they're predictable, and predictability doesn't scream, promote me. Here's another harsh truth. External hires often get better deals than loyal employees like you. Why? Because they come in with leverage. They're seen as problem solvers, disruptors, people who bring something new to the table. Meanwhile, you're seen as a constant, a reliable cog in the machine, and as long as you're willing to keep spinning, they'll keep cranking the wheel without giving you a second thought. So let me ask you this: when was the last time you actually made the system pay attention to you? When was the last time you built a connection with someone who could advocate for you in those behind closed doors meetings where promotions are decided? If your answer is never, then stop wondering why you're being overlooked. You're not in the room where it happens because you haven't made it your business to get there. The people who get ahead aren't just working hard, they're working strategically. They're cultivating relationships with the decision makers. They're showcasing their wins in a way that can't be ignored. They're positioning themselves as indispensable, not just for the work they do, but for the connections they have. Meanwhile, you're still sitting there, hoping someone will recognize your worth. Spoiler alert, they won't. Recognition isn't given, it's taken. And until you're willing to take it, you'll stay exactly where you are, watching others climb the ladder while you're left holding it steady for them. So stop lying to yourself. Stop blaming bad timing or office politics for your lack of progress. The only thing holding you back is your refusal to play the game, build your leverage, make your connections. And for the love of all things corporate, stop expecting hard work and loyalty to be enough, because they're not. Chapter 3. Why does loyalty backfire? Here's a harsh reality for you. Your loyalty isn't earning you respect, it's earning you exploitation. Every extra hour you put in, every time you say yes to something outside your job description, every instance you stay quiet when you should speak up, all it does is solidify one thing: you're dependable. And dependable doesn't get promoted, dependable gets used. You think your loyalty is some kind of virtue, don't you? You wear it like a badge of honor. I've been with this company for years. I always do what's asked of me. I'm a team player. Guess what? Management isn't impressed. They're not sitting in boardrooms praising your dedication. They're laughing at how easy you've made it for them to keep you exactly where you are, working hard, asking for nothing, and taking whatever crumbs they feel like tossing your way. Loyalty doesn't pay, it traps. That steady paycheck you cling to, it's not a reward for your loyalty, it's a leash. It's just enough to keep you comfortable, just enough to keep you showing up every day without questioning why you're stuck in the same position year after year. You think you're staying for stability, but really, you're staying because they have trained you to fear the unknown. And let's be real, it's working. Studies show that 97% of employees tolerate low pay and no raises without leaving. 97%. That's nearly everyone. And why? Because you've bought into the lie that loyalty will eventually be rewarded. Spoiler alert, it won't. Management knows you're not going anywhere. They know you're too scared of uncertainty, too comfortable in your routine, too loyal to even entertain the idea of leaving. And they exploit that fear every single day. You think staying loyal makes you indispensable, but in reality, it makes you invisible. They don't see you as a disruptor, someone who can shake things up and bring value. They see you as a constant, a cog in the machine that keeps turning no matter what. And do you know what happens to constants? They get taken for granted. They're the ones passed over for promotions, ignored during raises, and kept right where they are because, hey, why fix something that's working just fine? Here's the part that should really make your blood boil. The people getting ahead. They're not the loyal ones. They're the disruptors, the ones who shake up the status quo, who make themselves impossible to ignore, who play the game instead of blindly trusting the system. They're not afraid to negotiate, to push back, to make waves, and because of that, they get noticed. But you? You're too busy being the good employee, the reliable one, the one who's always there when we need them. That's not a compliment, that's a trap. They don't reward you because they don't have to. You're already giving them everything they want for free. Think about it. Why would they promote you or give you a raise when you're already doing the job without complaint? Why would they risk losing their most dependable worker to a new role when you're perfectly content to stay in your lane? They're not stupid. They know you're not going anywhere. And because of that, they don't see you as someone who needs to be incentivized. They see you as someone who can be ignored. And let's not forget about those shiny new hires who come in making more money than you, getting more opportunities, and being treated like the second coming of Steve Jobs. You know why they get that treatment? Because they have leverage. They come in with a fresh perspective, a new skill set, and the audacity to ask for more. Meanwhile, you're still sitting there hoping your loyalty will finally pay off. It won't. Loyalty isn't a currency in corporate life. It's a weakness. The system is designed to reward disruptors, not constants. It's built to value those who create change, not those who maintain it. So if you're still clinging to the idea that your dedication and hard work will eventually get noticed, let me save you some time. It won't. You want to stop being overlooked, stop being loyal, start being strategic, build your network, make your wins visible, and don't be afraid to ruffle a few feathers. Stop saying yes to everything. Stop working overtime for free. Stop being the person they can always count on to pick up the slack. Because as long as you keep playing the role of the loyal employee, they'll keep treating you like one. And when the day comes that you finally had enough, don't leave quietly. Don't give them the satisfaction of thinking they can replace you without a second thought. Leave loudly. Make your value known. Take your skills, your experience, and your work ethic somewhere that actually appreciates them. Loyalty backfires because it's not seen as an asset, it's seen as a given. And until you stop being loyal to a system that's designed to exploit you, you'll never get the rewards you deserve. So the next time you're tempted to stay late, take on extra work, or say yes to something that's not your job, ask yourself this: who's really benefiting from your loyalty? Because it sure as hell isn't you. Chapter 4. Why are external hires treated better? Here's the hard truth. Your company doesn't value you as much as the shiny new hire who just waltzed through the door. That's right. The same place you've dedicated years of your life to, sacrificed weekends for, and worked tirelessly to help succeed, sees you as nothing more than a safe bet, a predictable, replaceable cog in their profit-driven machine. And no, they don't feel bad about it. Why would they? They've got you exactly where they want you, loyal, underpaid, and quietly grinding away while the outsider they just brought in is showered with a higher salary and a faster path to promotion. Why do they treat external hires better? Simple. They see external hires as disruptors. These are people who come in fresh, unburdened by the company's internal politics or the complacency they've baked into your day-to-day. They're brought in with a mandate to fix a problem, shake things up, or bring a new perspective. And because they're new, they get to set their terms. They negotiate their salaries, benefits, and perks up front, while you're stuck fighting for a 3% raise and hoping your manager deems your effort exceeds expectations on your performance review. Spoiler alert, they probably won't. Think about it. When was the last time you were truly rewarded for your contributions? No, not a pat on the back during a team meeting. I mean rewarded with more money, a meaningful promotion, or a real acknowledgement of your value. Can't remember? That's because it doesn't happen. Why? Because they know you're not going anywhere. Let's be honest. You've been trained, yes, trained, to stay put, to accept less, to believe that loyalty will eventually be recognized. It won't. They see your loyalty as complacency, your dedication as predictability, and your willingness to stay as permission to overlook you. And don't fool yourself into thinking your stellar performance reviews mean something. Those reviews, they're not for you. They're for them. Legal documents designed to justify why they don't need to pay you more or promote you. You're doing great, but here are a few areas for improvement. Sound familiar? Yeah, that's by design. Meanwhile, the new hire they just brought in, they're treated like royalty, bigger salary, better perks, and a seat at the table you've been clawing your way toward for years. Why? Because they're seen as a risk worth taking. The company views them as someone who can bring immediate value, whether it's fixing a broken system, driving innovation, or shaking up the status quo. And you're the status quo. You're the safe bet. You're not leaving, so why should they do anything to keep you happy? Here's what really stings. External hires aren't necessarily more qualified than you. In fact, many times they have less experience or fewer skills than you do. What they do have is leverage. They walked in knowing their worth, and they weren't afraid to demand it. They're not encumbered by years of being undervalued by this company, so they set their price and got it. And now you're stuck watching someone with less time in the trenches get everything you've been working toward, because the system doesn't care about tenure or loyalty. It cares about disruption and leverage. Oh, and let's talk about promotions. When was the last time you saw an internal candidate get a promotion without jumping through hoops, filling out endless forms, and enduring months of "we'll see"? Compare that to the external hire who's brought in and promoted within a year, because they're exactly what we needed. You know what's really happening? The company's betting on the new hire to succeed because they've invested more in them up front. They don't need to bet on you because you're already a sure thing. Here's the kicker. The same qualities that make you a great employee, your loyalty, your work ethic, your deep understanding of the company, are the very things holding you back. You're too reliable, too predictable, too comfortable. They don't see you as someone who can shake things up because you've spent too much time blending in. So what can you do about it? First, stop being so damn loyal to a system that's designed to take advantage of you. If they're not going to pay you what you're worth, if they're not going to promote you, then start exploring your options elsewhere. And when you do, take a page out of the external hires playbook. Walk in knowing your value. Demand what you deserve. Make them invest in you from the start. And if you choose to stay, understand this. You need to stop being invisible. Build your network within the company. Make sure the right people know about your wins. Advocate for yourself. Stop waiting for them to notice your value. They won't unless you force them to. External hires are treated better because they demand it. They walk in as disruptors while you've been conditioned to be a constant. So, are you going to keep letting the system walk all over you? Or are you going to start playing the game the way it's meant to be played? Because until you do, you'll just be another name on the payroll. Loyal, hardworking, and utterly replaceable. Chapter 5. How do you beat the system? You don't beat the system by working harder. You don't beat the system by keeping your head down, hoping someone will notice your dedication. And you sure as hell don't beat the system by playing fair while everyone else is gaming the rules. The harsh reality is this. The corporate world isn't some merit-based utopia where hard work magically translates into success. It's a battlefield of politics, perception, and power. And if you're not willing to play the game, you've already lost. Here's the truth you don't want to hear. Nobody cares about your hard work unless it benefits them. Oh, you stayed late every night this week? Cool. Did the right people see you do it? Did they feel your absence at happy hour? Or notice that their job got easier because you picked up the slack? If the answer is no, then congratulations. You just gave the system free labor. Your silence isn't noble. It's self-sabotage. Corporate success isn't about effort. It's about visibility. The people who climb the ladder aren't necessarily the hardest workers. They're the ones who know how to get noticed. They're the ones who walk into meetings with solutions that align perfectly with what leadership wants. Not because they're smarter or better, but because they've done the legwork to understand what actually matters to the people in charge. And let's be clear, what matters isn't your blood, sweat, and tears. It's results that make them look good. You want to beat the system? Start playing their game. First, make yourself indispensable in ways that align with their priorities. Your boss doesn't care that you improve the process if it doesn't save money or make them look good to their superiors. So stop pouring your energy into busy work that nobody notices and start focusing on initiatives that make you unignorable. And when you achieve something, don't you dare sit back and hope someone recognizes it. Subtly but strategically, make sure the right people know about your wins. Think that sounds like bragging? Get over it. The system is rigged for people who know how to market themselves. You're not going to get ahead by being humble while someone else takes credit for your work because they had the audacity to speak up. You want recognition? You demand it by putting your success in front of the decision makers who matter. And let's talk about relationships. If you think networking is slimy, guess what? You're going to stay exactly where you are while someone else schmoozes their way to the top. Relationships are everything in this game. Start building connections with the people who have influence, not just your boss, but their boss and the other players in the power structure who can open doors for you. Support their initiatives. Make them look good. Make them see you as a trusted ally who adds value to their agenda. Because in this system, their success becomes your success. Still think this is manipulative? Fine. Stay stuck in your moral high ground while someone else less pure gets the promotion you've been working toward. The system doesn't reward silent martyrs, it rewards strategic disruptors. You want to break free? Then start learning how to play the game instead of pretending you're above it. But don't stop at networking and visibility. If you want to be truly untouchable, disrupt where it counts, improve processes, save money, drive results, measurable results that align with the company's bottom line. And when you do, document every damn thing. Keep a running list of your contributions, complete with data and outcomes. This isn't just for bragging rights, it's your ammo for the next salary negotiation or promotion conversation. And here's the kicker, be ready to walk. The system banks on your fear of leaving. It counts on your willingness to accept less because you're afraid of the unknown. But if you want leverage, real leverage, you need to be willing to take your value elsewhere. When you walk into that meeting armed with your list of wins and a clear understanding of your worth, you need to know in your gut that you don't need this job. That confidence is what shifts the power dynamic in your favor. So how do you beat the system? You stop letting it beat you. Stop working yourself to the bone for a system that won't notice unless you force it to. Stop hoping someone will reward your loyalty or recognize your efforts. They won't unless you make them. Start playing the game on your terms, because the system isn't broken, it's designed this way, and the only way to win is to outsmart it. So here we are. You've heard the truth, raw and unfiltered. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to keep working late, nodding along in meetings, and hoping someone finally notices how dedicated you are? Or are you ready to stop being a pawn in a game you didn't even realize was rigged? Because let me tell you something, the system isn't going to change for you. You're either playing it or you're being played. Now, here's the real challenge. Answer this. What's the one thing you've been doing to stay safe that's actually been holding you back? That one behavior, mindset, or fear that's keeping you stuck while everyone else moves up? Drop it in the comments. I dare you to get honest. And while you're at it, tell me what you're going to do differently starting now. Oh, and one last thing. Don't just watch this and nod like, wow, great points. Take it. Use it. Flip the system on its head and make it work for you. Or don't, and stay exactly where you are while someone else lives the life you've been breaking your back for. The choice is yours.